guys, it's Andrea and I am back again with another video for you guys. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking about all the nursing essentials that I believe you should have as a new nurse, whether you are a new nurse like myself, fresh off orientation, or you're about to start your nursing job. I honestly feel like all these things I'm about to mention are super important. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, so real quick, actually, I do want to say thank you guys so literally from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate all the support and the kind words and the advice and the tips and everything you guys gave me in the last video. Yeah, I think you guys have a pretty good understanding and idea, so to speak, of how I'm feeling right now as a new nurse. So like I said, I truly appreciate you guys reaching out, sending, your advice, your prayers, your thoughts, all of that. I truly appreciate it. And with that whole ordeal, I definitely will keep you guys updated. But I kind of wanted this video to be a little bit more enlightening and positive and just me going back to giving you guys advice. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I have it written down obviously, but I would say 10 things, but then like one of the things is between 10 to 15. Let me just say that. So the first thing, and this kind of relates back to the video that I just posted, was like, you as a new nurse, I feel like it is super important to have a strong support system, kind of that same support system you had in nursing school, but a little bit more enhanced, or a little bit more, even more understanding as you become a new nurse. Because I come home a lot of times and I'm in tears, or like I'm communicating with friends, family members, boyfriend, what have you. And I, especially in the beginning, or like when I was in orientation, about to get off orientation, or the time period that I'm in now, I have a hard time with just not talking about work, if that makes sense. So really just having that support system there, that is someone you can lean on, someone who has an opening ear, who's understanding, who's not going to get upset at you for feeling like you're overreacting about work or what have you, but just being there and having your back and understanding and just loving you and caring for you, and just giving you advice regardless of what the situation is or how you may be acting. At the end of the day, they're understanding and they're there for you. I feel like that's super important as a new nurse. Now, like for an actual thing, I feel like it's important to have as a new nurse, and honestly, you may not be able to like get this or like create one until you're actually on the floor, is a brain, or like a flow sheet. So basically something that's going to keep you organized throughout your entire shift. I posted mine on my Instagram, I think it was a couple weeks back, like when I first got off orientation. I made it specifically for me. It worked best for me and it works best for my unit, and all the tasks and everything that I have to do within my shift is specifically on my brain sheet to keep up with every single one of my babies. They each have their own brain, their flow sheet. So that way, especially too, it's super helpful. Like when you're giving a report, you can go back and you can, review everything that you did for your shift period and things like that. So I feel like it's super important, one, to keep you organized, and two, when you're doing shift report, you actually are doing it in an organized manner. Because I know in nursing school, that's something that we really, you probably saw nurses do shift report, but for you to actually do the shift report from beginning to end and being able to answer any questions that oncoming nurse has for you, you probably didn't get that much experience in nursing school. So that's something that's definitely new when you become a nurse. So really having something that's going to keep you organized and having something that you can rely back on when you're giving report. Next thing, it's pretty obvious, but I'm saying to get this in abundance, because I got so many, and honestly, I don't even know where they went. I don't know if somebody stole them. I don't know if they grew legs and walked away. But highlighters and pens, and if you want to like personalize them in some type of fashion or form, I would recommend that. Because like I said, I have lost so many already, and I ain't even been there long. Like I don't even know where they went, but it's super important, especially like, again, going back to your brain and your flow sheet. You need to write stuff down. If you don't have a pen, a lot of times, I don't know, on my unit, pens are not always easily accessible, so it's super important that you have some of your own. And then for me, y'all know I like to stay super organized from beginning to end. I like to see colors. I like to see, especially like my tasks that I have to do that, throughout my shift. If I have labs, anything of that nature that I need to get done, that's something that I will highlight. So that's why I say that highlighters are super important. Next thing I feel is super important, it's gonna be a water jug, a water bottle, water flask, what have you, something to have water in it, especially like, I don't know, our lounge, and I'm pretty sure most units, well, I don't know, my unit's a little different. our like lounge is not as close to our unit. Like it's actually a walk. So if I wanted to walk out and like go get water, I would have to leave the unit. And of course, like if I'm the only nurse in the NICU or in my area, like that's not gonna happen. So we actually in my hospital, we have something called hydration stations where we are allowed to keep our water bottles, cups, whatever, as long as they have like a lid on them, we are able to keep them on the unit in a designated area. And because as you guys know, you are not allowed to have food or drinks out in the nurses station. But luckily my hospital, like I said, we have these specific areas designated in our unit where we are allowed to go drink water. Because as you guys know, that's like a super big problem that we as nurses have. We are, not finding the time to stay hydrated, not finding the time to eat. So that's kind of something else that I want to throw in there, having snacks that you can kind of throw in your mouth super quick alongside that water bottle, because it's super, super important to take care of yourself. If you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not staying hydrated, that's honestly like a recipe for disaster, and you really need to be 100% to take care of your patients. So definitely invest in getting a water flask, a water jug, a water bottle, whatever. Make sure you have that. Next thing is actually a list, and this is why I said like it's 10 to 15, because I kind of grouped these all together because they're little minor things, but I feel like they're maybe stuff that you potentially don't think about. So Carmex, because I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but like just being in the hospital in general makes my lips super dry, and then you don't want your lips to feel all ashy and chapped. No, girl, let's not even go there. Get Carmex, get chapstick, whatever. Make sure you have it on deck with you, a light jacket. But just be careful that with that, especially if you're a new nurse and you don't know the policies as far as your unit. I know some hospital units will only allow you to wear certain colors. So definitely check and see what you can wear on your unit. But I would recommend it, especially like if you're working nights, it could be a little bit colder. And if you have some downtime, of course, if you're sitting and charting and you're freezing cold, again, recipe for disaster. So I would definitely recommend having a light jacket. Extra hair ties, especially if you have hair like me and it's thick and it's long and sometimes your little freaking rubber bands pop. Definitely make sure you have extra, because of course we do not want our hair on our patients. You're working with babies, you don't want, your hair on their face and stuff like that. Any patient in general, you don't need your hair all up in the mix. So make sure you have extra hair ties to pull them back. Bobby pins, you never know. If you have shorter hair, I know sometimes maybe you have a hard time putting it in a ponytail, I don't know, but you never know what could potentially happen. And the next thing is super important, especially if you suffer from headaches, migraines, cramps, what have you. I highly recommend having a pain reliever, Tylenol, ibuprofen, Excedrin, whatever you need to make sure if something happens throughout your shift, like say you get a migraine, you're able to run to your hydration station or run to your locker, get that pain med and take it, because that's super important. Let me tell you guys, because this happened to me while I was on orientation. I got a migraine, had no Excedrin, had no ibuprofen, had nothing, and I had to suffer. Long story short, I ended up having to leave because I was in that much pain. So make sure you prevent that from even happening. Have your pain meds on deck. And I feel like this is kind of obvious because obviously like I'm listing all this stuff off. You want something to put all of this stuff in. So a nursing bag. For me, I already showed y'all, I made a video on what my nursing bag is. It's honestly just like a little backpack, but I'm planning to get something soon, something else, I don't know, but the backpack, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's getting the job done, but it's just not what I want anymore. So honestly, it doesn't matter what it looks like, what it is, as long as it's a bag that can hold your stuff. And of course, it's appropriate for the hospital setting. I would definitely recommend having a nursing bag so you can keep up with everything. And it's super easy to like forget stuff, especially like the simple things like your ID badge. So that's something that I say, try to have like packed the night before your shift if you work days, or like before you go to sleep if you work nights. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. Just make sure you're prepared before you actually make sure you have everything that you need, especially as a new grad. Like if you're in a residency program and you have classes on top of shifts, on top of everything else, projects, it's super important to stay organized and make sure you have everything that you need, because the last thing that you want is to show up somewhere with the wrong material, the wrong stuff. It looks like an L on your part. So make sure you have a bag to keep everything consolidated and together, and right hand to you, it'll be right there. The next thing I would recommend is getting a planner, especially, so I found myself using it more when I got off orientation, obviously because I'm making my own schedule now. So it's all on me. I have to make sure I'm there, I'm present. I know when I work, I know when I have other things scheduled outside of work. So when I'm making my schedule, I know when not to work. So it's super, super, super important to find a planner that works best for you, or just a planner in general. Something, if you want to use your phone, have something to keep you organized with your dates. Because let me tell y'all, L on my part that I did, so y'all know I work nights, but I still have my residency classes during the day. I accidentally scheduled myself to work a night, right? I think it's like a Wednesday night. And the next morning I have class on a Thursday. So sorry to that man, sorry to me. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do that. But that was when I was like fresh off orientation and making my schedule. I mean, I guess I'm still fresh off orientation, but like my first schedule I had to make off orientation, I honestly wasn't even thinking about those classes. So like I said, if you are a new grad and you have 1,000,001 things going on, it's super important to have a planner because it can get super hectic, and it's really, really, like I said, important to stay organized. The next couple things I feel like honestly are not that obvious, but I feel like they're super important. One being your hospital policies. You need to know how to access them. Because it's easy to forget the way that your hospital wants things done as far as like protocols. Let me give y'all an example. So for us, since we do delivery transition, if we have babies who are LGA, which means they're large for their gestational age, SGA, small for the gestational age, if their mother didn't receive prenatal care, if they have any risk factors that indicate that they need sugar checks, we have to follow a specific policy, a specific protocol to make sure we're checking these baby sugars. Now, it's easy to forget, based off of, are they LGA, are they SGA? Okay, I know I have to do these sugars every 3 hours, but how long am I doing it for? It's different for each risk factor, so it's easy to forget those things. But since I know how to access my hospital's policies online, without me having to necessarily go ask someone, maybe other people are not available at the time, it's super, super convenient and easy for me to just hop on the computer real quick, just where our charting system is, and look up where our policy, or look up what the specific policy is. So that way I'm able to make sure I can't even, how do I say that? I know that I'm doing it according to my hospital policy. I think it's super, super important to know that. So if you do not know that, or maybe you're about to start working, make sure to ask your educator or whoever, your preceptor, how to access your hospital's policies, because you really want to make sure you're abiding by the hospital rules and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like I said, make sure you know how to access those policies. The next thing kind of ties into that as well, and it's like your learning modules. So my hospital has Partners in Learning, or we used to use Partners in Learning, and then we use HealthStream as well. And so these are different resources that we can use to go back and basically watch videos or read information, just an extra resource on how to get specific things done. Like say I forgot how to start. Why can I not talk? I don't know how to start an IV on a baby, or I forgot how to do a heel stick on a baby. I forgot how to prepare formula. How long can I store breast milk for? Just all these different things that I would need to know how to do. Again, if I don't have someone who's, right there next to me, who is available for me to ask, it's really simple and convenient and easy for me to go online to these learning modules to make sure, again, that I know what I'm doing it in the right way, I'm following the proper techniques, and it's super convenient, super helpful. So again, make sure you know how to access the policies, and any learning modules or resources that are, provided to you, make sure you know how to access those as well. All right, and then the next thing is going to be a notebook and journal, and I feel like this is super important. Even like off orientation, I feel like it's important because for me, I had one. I really wish I had it, but I have no idea where it's at. But it's basically like a little notebook where I wrote down all these notes, all these things that I learned while I was on orientation. And when I was on orientation, I feel like I probably recalled back to it more, especially when I was learning, and my preceptor kind of like stepped back for a little bit to allow me to do more things on my own. It was really convenient for me to rely back on that notepad. But just the whole learning process, like, don't try to store all that information in your head, especially like if you have an extended orientation like me, or when you get off orientation. and you're trying to remember all these things because there's a million and one things to learn in nursing. I'm still learning. It's super, super convenient to be able to have something to go back to that you learned while you were on orientation. And just having it there, because you never know what you're going to forget. You never know what you're going to need, a refresher on. So it's super, super important. I really recommend to make sure that you have a notepad from day one, like day one of orientation, even if you're not on the floor. When you are literally just starting, make sure that you have that notepad, that journal, whatever, what have you, something convenient, something compact and small that you can keep with you on all times to make sure that you have that resource, that information to rely back on. So that's pretty much it. If you have anything that you would recommend for a new nurse, new grad, anything as a nurse as you are now, go ahead and drop it down below in the comments. Again, I could honestly probably go on more and more, but these are the things that I feel like are pretty important to me right now, and as I have been going throughout my journey. Awkward because my camera definitely died. I don't know where I left off, but basically, long story short, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think I was saying drop anything down below. If you have any suggestions that you want to add to the mix, go for it. I'm here for it. Again, thank you guys so much for all the support, kind words, prayers, thoughts, all that. I appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful. Be sure again to follow my Instagram if you are not already, and I will catch you guys in the next video.